Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the CertiK Security Leaderboard Showcase. I'm your host, Jesse. As you know by now, in this showcase, I host a project for a live AMA where we discuss their work with CertiK, we touch on the recently launched Skynet for Community platform, and we throw in some questions submitted by you, the viewers. Our goal is to raise the standard of security and transparency across the entire Web3 space. The Skynet Security Leaderboard, found at skynet.certik.com, is a free tool to help you safely navigate the blockchain world. Today's featured project is WEMIX, a blockchain-based global gaming platform. Let's try that again. A blockchain-based global gaming platform. Let's take a look at the project.
WEMIX is an experience-based, platform-driven, and service-oriented decentralized blockchain protocol built as the foundation of a borderless mega ecosystem. Auditing is an essential step in the security process. At CertiK, we review the top Web3 projects to help you better understand the findings from our experts. This audit covers WEMIX. The summary describes the audit and the types of analyses used. Overview shows the programming language, the blockchain used, and a link to the project's codebase. The vulnerability summary lists issues that need resolution. Audit scope displays which contracts were audited. Findings highlight all issues and ranks them in terms of severity from critical to discussion. In this audit, we found 0 critical, 1 major, 0 medium, 0 minor, and 1 informational issue. WEMIX has resolved 1 issue. Visit CertiK.com for the full report.
As always, we encourage everyone to go over to the Skynet Security Leaderboard, check out the WEMIX project. You can read the audit report there and check out the mitigations and remediations that have been applied. So I'll bring on Isaac, who is today's guest from WEMIX. Isaac, how's it going?
Hey, how are you? Doing good.
Doing well, thank you. Could you just introduce yourself, give an overview of your position, what you do at WEMIX?
Yep. So I am the team leader at Smart Intelligence team that is overseeing the development of WEMIX 3.0 along with its 3 platforms, WEMIX Play, WEMIX Fi, and Nile. Our team's focused on bringing our expertise, which is gaming, to blockchain. And we're here to help games to integrate blockchain in a very simple and easy way and get access to the Web3 users out there.
Great, that's a great introduction. So can you explain, just in simple terms for viewers who may not be familiar, what the WEMIX platform is? It sounds like there are 3 components to the platform, and how it stands out from other blockchain gaming platforms that users may be familiar with.
Right. So WEMIX we started out as a simple token on Clayton, and we started to launch games on its chain, and we've experienced a bit of difficulties in creating the games that we want in certain specifications. So we decided to launch our own blockchain, which is EVM compatible, and we've been launching our services on top of that blockchain. And primarily because the parent company we made is a pioneering game development in Korea, we're putting a lot of effort to bring on flagship games such as MIL4 onto the blockchain. And the key thing that we focus on is making the development experience very easy for the game developers, so that they can easily integrate the blockchain component into their game, thereby offering the gamers their right to their characters, to their items, to their time and effort.
Is that what was behind the decision to launch your own blockchain platform, to really be able to customize the level of control that developers and users have? Like, can you speak a little bit about the decision to have your own sort of in-house blockchain?
Yeah, so we have looked over a lot of different blockchains out there before we decided to launch our own chain. And there was always a decision. The key thing that we looked into was how easy it is to use for the developers, and how easy it is to use for the users as well. And one of the things that we wanted to get through was because the games are very high performance, the games require very high performance of a certain network. we decided to structure our blockchain in a way where the block times and the block intervals are a lot faster. It's easy to execute and develop on the network. But then again, it also has to be composable with other components of Web3, especially Ethereum, because Ethereum has the largest community out there. So we wanted to customize some of the features that's offered on the blockchain. And one of the interesting features that we offer is something called fee delegation, which is essentially the service providers are able to pay for fees for their users. So let's say that you launch a game on our blockchain, and if you want to make a more seamless user experience, you're able to use our field delegation module to prevent your first-time players from actually having to pay fees to use the blockchain. So that was just one of the many things that we are doing to our blockchain.
Interesting. That's a really great way of like onboarding new users and getting them to feel familiar with the experience before they have to start paying for transactions and more blockchain-based things that other people may be familiar with. And is the WEMIX Wallet one of the features that you custom built for your platform? Could you speak a little bit about the WEMIX Wallet?
Yeah, WEMIX Wallet. So we actually have two wallets. WEMIX Wallet is what you would call non-custodial wallet, which is in resemblance with MetaMask. So you're able to use it on any of the platform, any of the dApps that build on WEMIX. We have a separate wallet for the gamers, which is called Play Wallet. And I think we have about 9 million users there using the wallet. And what it does is that it connects the wallet is used to connect the user address to the game. So if you play the game and if you earn some sort of rewards, you're able to monetize it. You need a wallet, and Play Wallet is what you would actually use. On that wallet, we have certain control measures. We have other methods to keep track of the users. And the reason we have this is that when you integrate play to earn, one of the things that has been very difficult for our games is actually the number of bots that actually run the game and try to arbitrage that reward. So these measures were very important in maintaining the economics of the game as well as the quality of the game. So we have a separate wallet for the gamers.
Interesting. And yeah, I guess tackling the challenge of bots is a big one. What are the benefits of blockchain technology when it comes to this kind of bot resistance? Are there advantages over more Web 2 systems, or does it get more complicated? Could you speak a little bit about that?
I think it gets a lot more complicated because once the assets are actually in your wallet, it's yours. The ownership is yours. Unlike the Web2 service, it's very difficult to control that. Now, the only thing that we can do is to block that user from using additional game. So I think to implement some sort of controls over the users is a very complicated task, as opposed to Web2 service, as opposed to just regular gaming service where you can just ban IDs if something doesn't work, if something is not right. But here, I think I think have users having their own ownership of their tokens, of their assets, is a double-edged sword in a sense that we don't really have a full control over it.
Right. Interesting to hear you speak about the challenges when it comes to building on blockchain, and that's one of them, I guess. You don't have, in a decentralized system, you don't have the ability to just pick and choose users to ban quite as easily as in old school games. So how does the WEMIX platform handle scalability? I know that'll be a big concern for gaming. You'll need high throughput transaction networks. What's the approach to that? And I guess that was something you considered when you were building out your own platform.
Mm-hmm. So we took two approaches to this, and first one is an answer that is a method that is chosen by many of the chains out there. It's to sacrifice decentralization. for scalability, and we needed that to better the user experience. And our thesis is that it's very important to provide a service that users actually use. And I am a huge user of other DeFi applications or games on especially Ethereum, but it's very difficult. It's slow. It's just not something that is serviceable to the mass. And our goal is to bring gaming and blockchain to the mass. So we needed a blockchain that was able to meet this criteria, and we decided that once we onboard users, so after we have a service that is able to satisfy a mass of people out there, then I think our challenge would be to work on decentralization. So that was one thing we did. Second thing we did was we have tried to put the whole game onto a blockchain, and that approach, frankly, with the current limitations of the technology, doesn't work. So what we have decided is that we only put the essential components onto the blockchain, which is mostly related to the assets. So, for example, for most of our games that is released recently, it will only have the token component or NFT component related to the game. So you don't actually need to save all the game data on the blockchain. And for the better user experience, it's better to actually run the game off of the blockchain on a centralized server. The user experience in our current assessment is a lot better this way.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I think it's great to hear you speak openly about what you can do with blockchain technology and what you can't do at this time, and what makes sense to do and what doesn't really make sense to do. So can you tell me what type of games are currently available on the WEMIX platform, and what's coming in the future?
Yeah, so I think we currently have 26 games live on wemixplay.com. The sort of games that we have are it ranges from RPG, action, adventure, strategy, ROA, and more. And one of the reasons that we have such a variety of games right now is that we think it's important to actually onboard the games right now. And what we mean by that is we'd like to have as many game as possible on our platform for now. And the reason for that is we view the current phase as a period where the users are being educated about how blockchain gaming works and what it could do for the gamers. So in that sense, we want to open up every possibility of it to onboard users. But a few of the games that we launched directly by WeMade have been quite successful. So Mirror 4 is it's actually the first game to come out of Korea as a P2E game, and we've seen huge inflows of users in 21 towards the end of 21 when we launched it. I think there was about 20 million registered users, and at its peak, I think we had about 1.5 million users concurrently playing the game at the same time, which was a great accomplishment for us, even for us. So that was actually kind of the cue where our company has decided to invest a lot more into blockchain and into Web3 services.
Right. Yeah. Just touching on that, was blockchain always the focus, or did you sort of come at it, recognize its merits from afar, and then come closer to it? What was the thought process when integrating blockchain technology?
Yeah, so we're a listed company in Korea. We've been a game maker for past 26 years, so we're pretty old. And there was a small group of people that pioneered into blockchain, and that the effort started in 2018. when there were a few of the people that was just working on what they were just um, taking a look at the landscape. And they've been following the trends. They've developed something, but it wasn't quite well. It wasn't actually implemented in our games. And in 2021, we witnessed what P2E could do, and we decided to implement token economics to our flagship game Mir 4. And on the global launch, we integrated, we launched it with on the blockchain, and that has been a huge success. And that really opened our eyes to what can be possible if you give the ownership of certain assets that's within the game, and that actually has value. So if you look at the landscape of MMORPG, Korean companies are usually leading in this sector, and there's a lot of Koreans and other global users playing this game. And one of the things that has been happening for past 10, 20 years is the trade of virtual assets that's within the game. So, if you play some of the MMORPGs from, let's say World of Warcraft or Lineage in Korea, the items that are hard to acquire in the game are actually very valuable, and it does get traded in the real world. And
Yep.
what the blockchain did was to bring the ease of access to those assets. So it actually gave them a way to create value and then to transfer that value, which was exactly what blockchain was designed for.
For sure. I like bringing up the story of Vitalik creating Ethereum because he lost his World of Warcraft items or lost a character or a skin or something like that overnight. So you've touched on it briefly, but we've had some questions just wanting to clarify how the digital asset rewards work on the WEMIX platform. You said that these are one of the things that are blockchain based. So are these NFTs? How did the rewards and in-game items work on WEMIX?
Right. So on our first game, on our first flagship game, Mir 4, we implemented two things. So we had in the game, there's an item called Dark Steel that can only be earned by human play, and it is a crucial item to upgrade your character. So it's a crucial part of the game. You need it if you want to play the game, if you want to excel at the game. And we enable the users to mint a token called Draco that is exchanged at a certain rate to Dark Steel, which was an in-game item, and then we had an asset which was Draco on the blockchain, and we connected these two on our game, and the response we've seen was massive. One other thing that we did on Mir 4 was to allow users to mint their character as NFTs, and they were tradable on our blockchain. And let's say that you played a certain character for past 5 months, and you want to play a different role. You played an archer, now you want to play warrior. You're able to mint your character as NFT, and you're able to trade it on the NFT marketplace, which means that the money that you spend on the game in a traditional Web2 game, there's no way to preserve value for that.
Right.
But on our games and through our blockchain integration, this is possible. So if you're a hardcore gamer, there's no reason for you to not play blockchain games, provided that they're actually fun, because you're able to preserve value and then move on to the next game if you choose so.
Right. Yeah, that's a really smart way of doing it, I think. Like being able to, so your 5 months of progress don't go to waste. You can swap yourself out for a character who also has 5 months of progress, and you haven't really lost anything. You've only gained with someone who also wants to swap characters. So that's a really interesting way of doing it. And you mentioned like the serious gamers. I guess that's a pretty important target market for you. Is it tricky to convince them of the benefits of blockchain gaming, or are they more open to it? What's like the adoption of your platform look like?
I think like if you look at if you look at the games, there's two types of people that play the game, and then and these are valued by how much they actually spend in the economy. And usually, these serious gamers spend a lot of money in a game for their character. So first of all, it provides them a way for the blockchain and component provides them a way to preserve that value, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
But then also it gives them another method to accelerate the growth of their character, because they if they choose to spend a lot of money on it, it's very easy for them to proceed and rank higher on their specific server of that world. So it provides them with both a way in and a way out at their choosing.
Super cool, interesting stuff. And with the WEMIX Play 3.0 ecosystem, what were the improvements, the upgrades made with the recent update to WEMIX?
Yeah, so WEMIX Play update, we have a couple of things that's coming to WEMIX Play. And first thing is that we initially had WEMIX Play on a sidechain that was linked to the mainnet WEMIX 3.0. Now we're leaving that sidechain behind. We're leaving that as legacy. So already the games that are already servicing will still be there, but for the new games, we'll be launching them on the mainnet. So what this actually does for developers, for the users, is that it gives you a lot more flexibility in terms of how you manage your assets, how you manage your tokens. And it also brings composability. So we have NFT marketplace on WEMIX on our mainnet. We also have a WEMIX Fi, which has swap, which has lending. So bringing the assets to the mainnet, it provides them with ability to use other services. It also provides an opportunity for other developers to leverage our games, our game tokens, to build something on it. So I would say this is the major step towards us, getting into that Web3 scene. And through bridges, you're able to use other networks as well. One other thing that is an interesting update on the WEMIX Play 3.0 is we're targeting to open a decentralized order book DEX that will facilitate the trade of game tokens on that DEX. And I think that's coming around July of this year.
Cool. Glad to hear there are big things in the works. Turning now to security before we get into some audience questions. So what are the security considerations of a platform like WEMIX? What are the things you need to consider? How are they unique compared to other platforms? And if you can touch on the partnership with CertiK as well, that would be great.
Yeah. So one of the things that we take very seriously in providing our services is again, is actually security of the assets of the users. And this is because we service a very large pool of users. And therefore security is a paramount virtue that we're very serious about. And one of the steps that we have taken towards the security is not only to do internal auditing of the contracts or of the codes that we develop, but it's to work with CertiK to touch on the things that we may not be familiar with. So if you guys check out the website of Skynet, there's a variety of projects that has been audited by CertiK. And one of the reasons why we wanted to work with CertiK was first was that they had a very great brand across the Web3 users, and then second, they were very thorough in their audit process. So without we've in our history we've had certain we had a couple of problems when we were not familiar with developing a blockchain game. We had a lot of try and error, and each time I think it would have been a lot more easier and better for the users if we had worked with CertiK.
For sure. I think security is something that really has to be of like primary concern, and it's great that you're taking that seriously, working with us, and we're super happy to be working with you and projects developing on your platform. So we'll go to some audience questions now. Got some interesting ones. So how does WEMIX support creators or artists in developing their careers?
That's an interesting one. So one of the things that we did earlier this year was to help launch a fan token for for the creator in Philippines, Myrtle, and we helped her launch her own fan token on WEMIX, and it's seen a lot of it can be used as a token for transferring. It could be used for donations. It could be used for voting of what the users actually want. It's a tool for users. It's a tool for creators and users to get more engagement between each other. So that was one thing that we did. Another thing that we're working towards is we're actually sponsoring a golf tournament in Korea, and we're topping the prize with WEMIX. So that raises awareness of what we do to a pool of people that probably are not very familiar with blockchain. So and we're using the golfers, the players on that tournament to create NFTs, help them launch their own fan base network if they wish so. So these are just some of the stuff on how we work together with the creators.
That's great to hear. And bridging the Web3 world and the real world with a golfing tournament is a good step. Another question is about the team members at WEMIX. What are some of the things they've worked on in the past? What makes them the best team to be working on the WEMIX platform, developing the WEMIX platform?
Right. So I think there are a few components to this. So I think first of all, the management that we have at WeMade and WEMIX are very open-minded, aggressive towards the new business, but then we take compliance very seriously. So one of the things that we have been working very hard on especially after the collapse of Luna, is that the sentiment of regulators in Korea has turned it's turned bad, and we are one of the leading business players in this industry that are actively talking with the regulators to how to embrace this technology. And so I think that gives us a lot of insight onto what type of platform we should envision. And and our tech team has 6, 7, 8 years of developing blockchain-related products, and I think that their experience has been very helpful in designing a platform that we want for the gamers, for the players. But then again, their expertise has been helpful on creating a blockchain that is that adheres to the Web3 standards. At the same time, we're able to use that technology to provide a service that we think is high quality to our gamers.
It's great to hear. Got a couple of questions touching on the WEMIX library. Can you talk about the documentation in the archive there? And what this question is referring to the transparency and immutability of the library.
Yeah, sure. I think the library is released through our docs, through the Gitbook and the GitHub. So I think we do a lot of we do I think we do quarterly updates to the mainnet, and we have an update coming next month, that will be our first hard fork. And whatever update that we do, whatever code that we implement to our blockchain are transparently published, on both Gitbook, on both Gitbook, and then on our Medium, and then onto their docs. And on those documents, you're able to find necessary information for you to develop or integrate or use our blockchain.
Cool. And the last audience question we've got is about, are we going to see open world games on the WEMIX Play ecosystem, especially after recent partnerships with global cloud companies? Could you speak about either of those things?
Yeah, so we're actually working with a lot of large companies out there, such as Microsoft, and Tencent as well. And one of the things that we are looking to do is actually creating that open world game. We're looking at it from a very a variety of perspective to see how we can design it the best way. We haven't really found a good answer yet, but we're looking at it very seriously. But one of the ways that one of the points that we one of the values that we are pursuing is to create that interoperability between the contents. So that is something that's in the works.
Cool. Thank you for addressing these audience questions. We've had quite a few, so there's a lot of interest in the platform. It's about time for us to wrap it up. Are there any final words you'd like to leave the audience with? Any games you recommend they get started playing?
Yeah, I think you can start off with playing Mirror 4. Actually, one thing I'd like to mention is that we recently launched a game called Night Crow, and it's the #1 game in Korea right now in terms of its revenue. And I think I've played it. All of my friends have played it, and we think this is a AAA game. And right now we're offering it to the Korea only, but this will become a blockchain-based game towards the end of the year. And I think this would be a very, very interesting tipping point for all of the gamers out there, because I think this would be the first AAA game that can actually provide the users with both ability to earn, but then again, it's really, really fun. So we're looking forward to that. I would say I'd recommend you guys to keep an eye on it. It will be very, very interesting for us.
That sounds like a great introduction to the WEMIX ecosystem. Okay, thank you so much for your time today, Isaac. It's been a great chat. I've learned a lot about WEMIX, WeMade, and all the interesting things you're working on. So where can people find more about WEMIX?
You can come to wemix.com. If you're a gamer, please check out wemixplay.com. You'll see 26 live games there. We have a lot of interesting games out there. Check it out. Yeah, those are the two places that you can go to learn more about WEMIX.
Great. Thank you for your time, Isaac. It's been a great chat.
Thanks for having me.